I kept my phone down all weekend. I don't know what the fuck happened around the world. All every time I turned on the TV, they was on some the Queen is in
The
the page of mourning for
Queen.
the Queen. It's like I don't give a fuck about that goddamn Queen. I don't give a shit about the Queen. But I did hear that they were stifling protests throughout her, her procession leaving Scotland. I don't think it was, a constant stream of protests, but there were some protesters hither and thither. And some folks, raised signs up saying, Charles is not my king. And they were arresting people for these very small acts of civil disobedience. And it's like, oh boy, the
Hmm.
the firm is quelching all dissent. There shall not be a cross word said against her royal majesty
We
during.
shall love the Queen. Love the Queen. Someone's asking, can they send an article to us? Yes, you can if you want to. I'm not
Who?
sure if I'm gonna. Ricky just said, can she send us an article?
Yes, by
Okay.
all means. Where, but send it to Kamau because because my
But
ability for production is limited. I did watch a tiny bit of NFL, and I'm sure you were not interested in talking about that, which is fine.
no, I want to let's finish off on the Queen because exactly as you were saying, it says not everyone mourns the Queen. For many, she can't be separated from colonial rule. And so, as was spoken about, it said when she took the throne in 1952, more than a quarter of the world's population was under British imperial power. That's more than 700 million people, including parts of Africa, Asia, Middle East, and the Pacific Islands. And obviously, no decolonization happened while she was quote unquote on the throne. And this decolonization wasn't because the British had a change of heart around what colonialization was. It was because folks had revolutionary movements and basically got emancipated, took power, and dethroned the Queen and dethroned the British Empire. So it's like the memory of it says the memory of Elizabeth is complicated by the fact that during her rule, more than 20 countries gained independence. I'm not sure how that complicates her or whatever, but it says it's her due status as the face of colonialism. I love this. So this is an NPR article, so you know this kind of bullshit will have to be placed in here, but also a symbol of decolonization that defines how she's perceived in many former British African colonies. So just to be clear, she is not a symbol to anyone of decolonization,
I was
except for
going to say NPR. How we defining decolonization these days? Like
yeah,
what
it's like
what's the
except for the
definition?
propaganda, the Western propaganda experts. You know, she may
Yikes.
you may try to flip that, but she's not a symbol of decolonization. She's a symbol of the colonialization, the taking of land, people, and resources, brutal military endeavors by the British all over the world. She was the symbolic head during all that time. To my knowledge, never really spoke out against British colonialism, but was a defender of the throne, and obviously somebody who tried to keep the power of the British held over people's heads and expansion of it, if it was even possible, particularly at that time when people were decolonializing. But she was never someone who was in favor of revolutionary movements to dethrone the British Empire. So she died over the weekend. I think approximately, what was she, 96 years old, if I'm not mistaken?
96.
Um,
Long life of evil. Evil be living, don't it? Evil
mhm.
just be surviving out this joint.
You can survive when you got not even millions, literally billions of
Billion.
dollars at your disposal because of the looting of other people's countries. So it's very easy to live a long life when you have the type of pampering at your disposal. So that's so of course she lived a long life. I mean, Henry Kissinger, different context, but obviously a very rich person is. Uh, I think everybody's kind of waiting. Everybody in the anti-imperialist crowd is waiting for him to drop that next. So we'll keep a we might keep a Kissinger watch, hoping that it happens relatively soon.
Now,
You know,
is he sick or is he just old?
he's just I mean he's sick and old at this stage. I'm starting the death watch. I don't think anybody else has. Um,
Go on Twitter.
so
I think you will find some company.
I think, yeah, no, everybody, anytime I think some old imperialist dies from either the US or someplace else, the next question is, and what about Kissinger? Because he seems to outlive them all. And then again, the media continually tries to remodel his legacy as one as statesman and so forth. And Kissinger, for the longest time, of course, as folks may not remember, of course, but was the person who led at one point the U.S. war in Vietnam. That did things like the Christmas bombing, i.e., with Nixon, of course, and later Ford. But later was granted and responsible for literally the death of millions of people. But like the good Western institutions, at the end of the war, after a resolution was found, and after the Vietnamese themselves had many times attempted to gain independence or settle the dispute or come to peace negotiations, and the United States continued to balk, trying to get a better deal, trying to make sure that the communist government did not take over in Vietnam, continued to bomb. But at the very end, once a peace was given, Nixon and his Secretary of State's counterpart in Vietnam were both awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, remember, but the Vietnamese counterpart turned down the Peace Prize because it was like, this makes no sense at all, and rightfully so, of course. So that's your queen.